The first target was the church. If they start burning churches, that means they'll burn houses. They were actually wild, crazy mob who were actually high with alcohol. Most of them were drinking. We could hear them screaming on top of the voice. They were like wild scream going on and everything. And most of the scream was like they saying "cookie tanto." That means chase away the cookie. How hard low? How is a derogatory term they use uh, for the tribal people in Manipur? Since she cannot walk, I don't know what strength I got that night. When you're in fear, you get this superpower. My name is Tara Manchin Hangzo. I'm from Imphal, West, the capital city of Manipur. I've been here in Delhi since the 6th of May this month. Yeah,
So
I came
why did you come from there? What happened there?
on the 3rd of May 2023 at about 8 p.m. I think it must be around 8 p.m. because we had just finished dinner, and then I was, cleaning up the house, the kitchen. I heard the sound of uh, clanking of electric poles. So there in Manipur, whenever we have bunds or whenever we have problems there, whenever there's some unrest in the city, the boys used to clang the electric poles to invite the other boys to come out on the street, and they used to burn tires. So then I said myself, oh no, they're going to start burning tires, and the air is going to be very polluted and all. Not knowing that they are going to come and attack us, because we had no clue. Because that whole day on 3rd of May, there was a solidarity march undertaken by the tribal people of Manipur in 10 districts. So it was like, and we were praying and hoping that no untoward incident happened that day. And when they wind up in the evening, in the afternoon, it was like, they said that nothing happened. There was no clash with the police. There was no problem. We were very happy and we felt assured that, yeah, everything is fine, because they were actually, this was called by the student ANSUM, called All Manipur Tribal Student Union. They have called for this solidarity march, against demand for of the majority Meitei for ST status. They wanted to negotiate. The High Court has just passed an order in one day for and asked the state government to recommend this, that recommend the demand of this community to the central government. So people were not happy with that because it was done arbitrarily and it was done in an unfair manner. So it was not a protest; it was a march by the people of the hill areas. So then, so as coming back to my story, we thought that they're going to start burning tires on the road. Excuse me. And then, but within half an hour of them, or not even half an hour, I can't, I just can't gauge the time because it was so sudden. Within 15 minutes, we could hear people rushing into a colony. They were called Paiteveng in Fal. So they were just rushing into a colony, and then we could hear them screaming on top of the voice. They were like wild scream going on and everything. And most of the scream was like they saying "cookie tanto." That means chase away the cookie. Then how hard low? How is a derogatory term they use uh, for the tribal people in Manipur? It's not a very pleasant word, but they refer to us how all the time. And then so what happened then, we all got frightened. Before that, we have locked the gate. As soon as we heard a clanking, we locked the gate and we locked the house and we barricaded ourselves into my mother's room. Me, my sister who's a handicapped girl, Down syndrome, then my mother who's 86 years old, and then my brother, his wife, and then the small child who's about he's about two. He's about two, and then my nephew, and then two nephew, and then my sister-in-law. So we were huddled there in my mother's this thing, and soon they came. As they rushed into the room, they pelted stones. We could hear them throwing stones, like hailstorm, kind of like the stone came raining down on the house, and all the windows were shattered. we have four houses in a row. So the first two house, what happened, we wouldn't really know because we were just next to the second house, the fourth house, which was my second brother's house, second elder brother's house. We could hear, because they have a first story, we could hear that all the glasses were shattering. There was noise of the thing. We were praying, and then we were hoping that we didn't know what to do. Of course, we were so frightened, frightened out of a wit, because we don't know why they attacked us in the first place and who are the people who's attacking us then. But we know they are Meitei community because they're speaking in Meitei and we understand Meitei. We have lived there also, and we speak Meitei ourselves. So as we were there in the room, we barricade ourselves, we put off the light, and then, so after the first pelting of stones, there was a lull for a moment, 15 minutes. We didn't hear any sound, and suddenly there was a boom of a tear gas. You know, so then we knew that the police are around on the street. So we felt very comforted and safe. Oh, the police are here. So the police are going to disperse them, and they're going to go away from here. And then after they go away, now everything will come back to normal. That was a perception then. Yeah. So then what happened was that again after the noise of the tear gas and they dispersed, again we heard them coming, in huge number. We can't see, we're in the room, but we could feel, when there is a mob, we could feel the noise, and we knew that there were a lot of people there. So what happened was that some continue pelting stones, and then they have this danda in their hands, bamboo sticks. So they started hitting the gate, with that bamboo. And in the meantime, we felt that though we were in the room and we cannot see them, we could feel that they were moving away. And where did they move away? In front of our house, on the other side, our church was located. Our Paite community, where we go and worship every Sunday, and every week we have a community worship there. And then where there were about 300 people congregation in the church who worship there every day, consisting of Paite community and Vaipe. The Vaipe also has been clubbed under the Kuki clan. So these two communities who you worship, and then we have just next to the church, we have a mission compound where our pastors have the quarters, and then the clerks, and then people who work in the church, they have their own housing there, separate. Anyway, so then I think they attacked the house. They must have attacked the church by then, and then started burning. Then one of my nephew who's with us, a young, very brave guy, he ran up to the first floor house, through the staircase, and he said, "Oh, the church is on fire," because they started burning. And he said, "All the crowds are there. All the crowds are assembled there. They're clapping hands and they're making a lot of noise." And then we say, "Oh my God, what to do now?" They started burning. First, they were throwing just stones, and we thought it will get over with that. But then what happened was that when they started burning a church, the first target was the church, and then they started burning and destroying the church. And then we were so frightened. We said, "What do we do?" The people who were assembled in my mother's bedroom, we decided that we have to do something about it, because if they start burning churches, that means they'll burn houses. And soon enough, another group of people, because as we entered my house, on the right side is my neighbor, and then on the left side is our houses, four houses in a row. And then they started burning the house just opposite us. That we could watch from the staircase, a window, and from a window, we just go opposite to each other, and we saw them, the shops. They have five, six. They have just newly built five shops in front of the house that was burned first. And then what happened? Then we realized that if they can burn a neighbor's house, they surely will burn us. Then the reality hit us that this is nothing, of just pelting stones and then terrorizing us. We knew it was serious, and we decided that we should run out of the house. So all of us opened the door, and with just the clothes that we were wearing, we rush out. And then as I said, I have my mother who's 87, and she had problem in her legs. She's using a walker then. So we decided we cannot take her walker, so we'll give her a walking stick. She have a walking stick there, so till now walking stick the Obama. So then what happened then? But she took another 10 minutes to wear her shoes. and she was struggling to wear her shoes because she, even with the normal shoes, slippers, she cannot wear because her feet has become numb and senseless, no? So she took 10 minutes and then she told me that, oh, my ATM cards and my gold and my this thing, money are in this Godrej cupboard. Can you please get it? She was sitting on the step, running away from the room. We have a staircase that lead to the first floor. So she was sitting there. I was telling her where are your shoes. And then I went to back to her room, and then I was searching for her key. She's very possessive. She's 76, but she's very clear about her own cupboard, her own things, and she take care of her own, uh, what do you call it, possession, So she told me the key were on top of the Godrej cupboard, but when I was looking at the, I was trying to feel the key, I couldn't find the key. Then I told Mama, I can't find the key. Then she said, no, it's on top. I said, it's not on top. She must have hidden it under the bed or something and must have forgotten it in her fright. Yeah. So anyway, so I said, these are not important. What is more important is our life. So let's just go. So she was not able to wear her shoes till then. Then I help her because we have to cross through my brother's house and go from my brother's back house. So and then I know that the whole garage and that area will be strewed with broken glasses. So we have to wear shoes. And I also came out with the shoes, one black and then one like red color, two different color shoes, slippers. I came out with my slippers. So then anyway, we made her wear the shoes, and then since she cannot walk, and then there was we have to get down from my house to come out of my house. There is four four steps, so she cannot walk there without a barricade there. So I have to carry her. I don't know what strength I got that night. When you're in fear, you get this superpower, kind of thing. So I was half carrying her piggyback and then half holding her, and then she was holding on to walking sticks. And then my sister, whose Down syndrome, was also rooted with fear, and she was not able to move. Anyway, so I told my sister-in-law, I said, just pull Junior, her name is Junior, can you just pull her and take her away because I have to take care of mommy. So she pulled her, and then we went, and then we rushed and we went to the back of my brother's house, and then the connecting house between my brother's house and his neighbor's house, there was a door. So we went through that, and then we rushed into the house, because by then, as I was rushing into, as I was getting out of my own home, I could feel the mob trying to break down the our gate, our iron
You
gate.
felt that it was the time that you could be really carried in that. That fear came in the mind that now it will be
Now,
all over.
yeah, of course, because they were coming with this burning torches, that they were coming with danda, they were coming with jerry cane, kerosene cane, and then since they could not break down a gate, the iron gate, I saw one or two guys jumping over the walls. We have this brick walls, and they were jumping over the walls. I looked back, and then with mummy this thing, and I saw them carrying, and I said, my God, they are already here. We'll be burned alive. But anyway, we escaped from the house then. While escaping the house, they have not burned the house as yet. But there was a car parked there just next to the gate. They overturned the car, and then they started burning the car. By then, we have to run for our life. So we ran for our life, and then we went to our neighbor's house, which was a hotel. It was run by a Métis community, but the owner of the hotel was a cookie chap, a cookie of the thing of people. So they have two houses. So then they said, we thought we'll be safe because it is a hotel, and then it was a hotel, and then it was run by the Métis.
Yeah.
But anyway, after staying there for half an hour, after they destroyed the house, after they burned, there was cylinder bursting. Our cars, we have 5 cars in the compound, they were burning it. And then, so obviously the petrol, I think, burst from the car. So there was a lot of explosion. We could hear the explosion because it was so loud. And then we knew that, oh my God, here goes the car. Here goes another car. Boom, 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 boom. And then I think when they burned my brother's house, where we, the next door we were hiding in that house, we realized that my brother's house was burned. And then finally they were going one house, like they destroyed his house first, and they go to the next house, the next, like, and ours was in the first, in its street, the first
Police were
4 houses.
not helping. Police were not trying to.
Police were there
But
because
they
the tear gas were
control the
there.
situation.
But then I think it was like police outnumbers. They were outnumbers by the mob, and the police must have gotten have later we found out that that the police were instructed not to shoot at the crowd, and also not to harm the mob. They were actually wild, crazy mob who were actually high with alcohol. Most of them were drinking. They were. I think they were high with drugs also. I'm not sure. I can't say that for surety, but they seems like crazy and wild. Um, so then they decided that the house where we were hiding, the hotel, will be next, because the people who came to attack us are known to us also. They know who we are, whose house is the tribal house, whose house is the Métis house, because we are living there with the Métis also. Out of the 65 houses there, 25 must be Métis houses in that colony that we live. Paitiveng, they call it Ningthem Kol. We call it Paitiveng, and they insist in calling Ningthem Kol. So there was a bit of issue over that also, but we continue calling that colony as Paitiveng because we have established it in the first place. That time it was a wild paddy field. There was nothing there, and nobody was willing to buy land there, and say only us. So anyway, we realized that they were coming one by one, attacking the houses, row after rows after rows. So then this Meitei guy who was also harboring us, sheltering us in his basement, he told us to. He said, "I also have to leave because they said that we are going to attack this house next, and then we have to rush out." So he said, "I will negotiate with the mob and the two police officer. There were two police officers standing at the gate. They said, well, the mob was attacking a house. The police were just standing at the gate and watching with a danda, and they had this rifle also with them." So then he said, "We all have to leave Vicadi's hotel now because it is not safe for us." And so he went out and he talked to the crowd and to the mob, and then even to the police officer. And the police, they were not officer, I think they were police constable. Then the police said, "Okay, bring out those, people who stayed there, and we will give them safe passage." So, and then there is CCTV also. We were all watching there, the crowd. So then we said, okay, it's time for us to run from this house also. So we all came out. We were about 20 of us, our family members. We all came out. That when my old mother, and the youngest one was just 1 year old girl. So then the second one was about 2 years, and then 4 years like that. So they were also all frightened, but they were carried by, in the piggyback by the mother with that cloth that we have. And then they were screaming and they were crying because they were very frightened of the noise. It was very noisy. Then they said, "Okay, get out of the house." So we got out of the house, and as we were coming out of the house, they gave us passageway like this. They spread their hands and say that the mob, because they know us, they knew who we are. They are neighbors. They're from across the street, so they know who we are. So they said Bobok. Bobok means grandmother in Meitei Lon. Said Bobok is a Meitei, because they know us. So then they said, then they were very kind, and they said, "Do not touch, this family, because Bobok, this thing, because Bobok is a Meitei." So we are grateful for that. They saved our life. Otherwise, some people were, because in my colony that night, of 350 people, 20 of us, we were the only family who came face to face with the mob, that came to attack us. So, and then of course, we all knew they were Meitei. And later, and then when I came out, and then I was holding to us, I was responsible for my mother. So I was holding on to my mother, and as we came out, I saw there were women, they were women who participated in this mayhem, in this attacking, ravaging the house. So as we came out, the woman was screaming and saying that, "Check if they have any baggage, if they have any luggage bag," because they know that if you run out, we'll be running out with of the house with valuable. Yeah. But we decided that we will not take any gold or silver or diamond or whatever that we have in the house, because we were so frightened, and we thought our life is more important, because my sister-in-law, who got a 2 years old son, she was carrying her bag, and as soon as she came, she was separated from us. She was taken to the right, and we were taken to the left. She and her brother. Her brother has come from he's a banker. He's come to take shelter with us from another village called Nambol. He was working there. When the trouble started, he couldn't go back to Lamka, Chuchanpur. So he was taking sheltering. So, but both brother and sister knew, were taken away, and her bag was snatched by this Meitei lady. What are you carrying, and then so there she was just carrying some simple things like her certificate, her mobile phone, and maybe one or two her gold items. So anyway, they snatched away. So then they said, no, this crowd, no, these people, this lot did not carry any bags. They came out, just by themselves. So then I was thinking, that came to my mind. So these ladies are here to loot us,
Yeah.
Not only are they to attack us, but they are here also to loot us. And sure enough, after we left the next day, everything from the house was looted,
So what do you
including the spoons, including the cutleries, in from our own house. They nothing. They strip of them of
So
everything.
what's the condition of your house now?
The condition of the house is that we have kind neighbors who live in another village called Sangaipro, Kabuidia, Naga. So they were not affected. They were not attacked by this Meitei community. So they went and took pictures of our houses, my brother's house, and we realized they have stripped off even the doors and even the windows. Everything was looted, stolen, taken away. All we saw was in the video was just the children's clothes. It was lying here and there, and then the iCard of my granddaughter when she was in class 2 in little class school. It was very sad. So that was all that was left behind, and they have even stripped the marble thing, tiles that was placed on the steps. They have even stripped that away. And then my sister-in-law was very fond of flowers. All the potted flowers was already taken. Then they have some chicken. The chicken were carried by this woman. The next day, the neighbor called me and they said one lady was carrying away a chicken. I said, good, let them enjoy eating the chicken. So I said, let them have a tasty meal. So anyway, when we came out, like we couldn't believe what was happening. We were in a kind of a shock, traumatic shock. So we knew was that something was happening, and then but we didn't know why we were attacked. We didn't know who was attacking. We know it was the Métis who was attacking us, and most of them were neighbors. But I must tell you one thing: as I came running out from that hotel, behind a house, I recognized one of the boys, as one of my neighbors from across the street. So then he made an eye contact. I made a for a moment. We both look at each other, and then make this 1 second eye contact. So he just looked away. He must be feeling a shame or whatever. He just looked away, and then and for a moment I thought he was smirking. But anyway, whatever it is, he also looked away, and then with his danda, he went to hit the house and break these glasses and all. So what happened then?
Now I
Fun.
wanted to ask more.
So then what happened then? We were taken out from that house, and we on the street. The police gypsy were there.
No problem.
The police gypsy were there. So what happened was that we were led by those kind mob to that police gypsy. There were about three police vehicle, and then one bolero. It was there. So we went and stood there. There was no chairs, nothing. It was on the street. So we stood there, and the police people were also there. They were watching. The crowd was so focused on burning the houses, row after row, one after the other, that they did not think of us. But anyway, as I said, this boy said this family is not to be touched because grandmother is Bobog is a Meitei, and they know us. They are known to us. My mother is a nurse, and she used to deliver most of these boys actually also across the street. Those boys, so they must be remembering my mother also. And we lived there for 60 years, 1965 to till now. So they all know us, and we live in harmony. We were all friends. We recognize each other when we go meet each other on the street. We talk to each other, and then now whenever I go to the market in Guakate, they always inquire.
You never saw such kind of violence there before?
No, actually, whenever there was a violent, there was a burn. They should just burn the tires, those car tires or vehicle tires on the street, and then the police used to come with tear gas and disperse them. They used to run back and they used to come back. But this kind of violence we never saw. And as a community, like especially my community, we are a very peace-loving community. So we never thought that we'll
But
be.
the chief minister Biren Singh is saying that we killed 40 cookies. Then he says, okay, they were not, the cookies were militants. Then he said, no, they were not militants, they are terrorists. Not
No,
even militants. They're saying that cookies are
he
terrorists.
has been terming us as foreigners, as illegal immigrants, and then as terrorists. Whenever it suits his moods, he's been terming us as, and he's a responsible chief minister. He's calling us jungly, poppy cultivators, whatever. So he's the one who started, and everybody follows suit. So for the past 10 years, we've been poppy cultivators. I have never seen a poppy plantation or poppy field in my life. I just know the flower is very beautiful, but I have never seen it, and I didn't even know that there was poppy cultivation happening because we don't live in the hills. We live in Infal. So the poppy cultivation was happening in the hill area, but you'll be surprised to know that the funders of the poppy cultivation, people who funded for this drug business, were very powerful people. Very powerful people. They were not only cookies. They were people. They were also Meitei. They were Meitei people or other politicians who were very rich, who had a lot of money, and who were very powerful. There's a drug cartel, group of people who deal in drugs that has have been happening for many many years. This is not the first time the politicians or other people are involved with drugs. So these are, and the people who working in a poppy farm or fields are actually poor daily wage villagers, in and around that poppy field, who earn just a small amount of money. So I think they are the worst. And then poor thing, if they own the poppy field, then they'll be so rich. How come they're still in a ramshackle house? One house built with tin roof and then mud house and everything. So the poppy cultivators are the owner. We have to distinguish between people who own the poppy field and people who work in the poppy field. So that is the only distinction. People who work in the poppy fields are the Kuki tribal people, because it is grown in the field is in the village. And then also people from Nagaland, people from nearby village also come and work in the poppy field, especially in the month of January, February, March, when the sap when the when they have to extract the juice of the poppy. They come and work for 3 months, 2 months, and then they go back to do to
So I mean,
Nagaland.
what you did? I mean, you are here in Delhi now with your entire family. And when did you take this apartment? Did you take it
Yeah, what
recently?
happened was that obviously when we ran away from the house, I mean, not ran away, we were chased, when we were chased out of a house, the whole colony was burned in front of our eyes. We witnessed our neighbor's house being burned, because we were on the street just right next to them. And then as they come closer to where we were standing with the police, we begged them, and then the police decided to take us to the safe place. So they bundled us into the car, and then we have a dog also. My nephew, his pet dog, uh, what was the breed? Golden retriever and his two pups. He was carrying his pups, and he was leading his dog also. So so just opposite to where we were staying was a Meitei house, and the police lady, police officer, and then us, we begged her, can we go to this house and stay there till, because the mob was coming closer and closer to us, and then they were burning, so we thought we'll get hurt also. So she knocked at the gate, and that guy came out, the gentleman there, and he said, that she requested him and said, can we put this about 20 or 17 people who's outside here, in your compound, inside a gate, for some time, till the time we take them to a safer place. And that man answered and said, I cannot take the risk of keeping 20 cookie people in my house, because I will be in trouble. And that maybe is true, but then he can't risk his life for us. He's a Meitei guy. He can't risk his life for the Kuki people. So then anyway, so they took us to the police station in Babupara, and soon after arrival there, we were told to leave. They said it's not safe here for you all. So then they took us to another cookie house, in Old Lambulan. There we freshened up. We used the bathroom, and then we felt the lady was very kind. She's a cookie lady herself, and she gave us food. And then, no, she didn't give us food. She gave us some tea with some biscuits and all. And then we were like safely settled in house for some time, about an hour or so. Then my brother, who has separated from his wife, and her brother-in-law, no, and his brother-in-law. So they make contact with each other and they said, "Where are you all?" They said, "We were carried by the mob. They pulled my hair. They hit us. They hit that boy, you know." And then they said, "Which?" The most interesting part, they keep asking, "Which uh, jati are you?" That means, which tribe do you belong? So they, my sister-in-law speak very good Manipuri because she's also like born and brought up in Infal, and she's a nurse and she worked with the Meitei and all in the hospital there. So she speak very good Meitei, and her brother also speak. And then they said we are the same Paite, obviously because they have to answer. Otherwise, the crowd was beating them and hitting them left and right. I said, and my sister-in-law told a story later that her bag was snatched by this Meitei lady. So luckily for them, the police were there. Police took them to the police station there at Kwakatel. So then, but they were baying for the blood at the street and saying that hand over these people to us, you know. And when the police did not do that, which was very kind of them. So after we met up with them, there we were in Old Lambulan by then, another cookie village locality. We we made contact with my sister-in-law and her brother, and they told us they are already in the army camp. They're going to send us a truck to pick us up. So by 2:30, 3:30, they came to pick us up, and we were taken to the place safely by the army personnel, Assam Rifle, and then we were given one big room for 20 of us. And by then we are not 20, we are already two or three of our neighbors have already joined, you know, our group. So we were safe and sound. We feel like, you know, we praise the God, we praise the Lord, saying that thank you for bringing us safely here. And then for that time being, we felt safe there. So after that, for staying there for two nights, we were on the third night. We were again moved to a different place. You know, the army headquarters at Assamra headquarters at Mantipuri. It was the biggest army headquarters there in Infal. So we were taken there, and then on arrival, we were so used to staying in one room with 20 of us. We were sleeping, you know, side by side, small space, you know, like no the thing. But in order to keep ourselves warm, my my niece, who's 11 years old, was shivering with fright. I have to huddle her and call her, and then make her sleep next to me. My mother was exhausted by then, so we also make her sleep. There was one bed without mattress, so she was lying down there. And then they offer us tea. We had tea, and then we felt good. So after staying there for 2 days, you know, they were giving us food. Like they were giving us puri for breakfast. They were giving us chawal, then dal, and then sabji for lunch and dinner. So we were well fed then. We were good taken care of there at the camp, you know, small army camp. But then on the third day, when we went to the big camp, we were so surprised to see about 4,000. I don't know, I didn't count, but there were huge number of people there already, all, you know, in displaced people who were rescued by the army and brought to this camp. So obviously, when there's 4,000 to 5,000 people, where do you sleep? What do you do? So we were the latecomers. You know, these people have been there here already for 2 days from the third. Here we came on the fifth. So then we had to find a space for ourselves. There was not an inch of space for us. So we finally we found one corner which was next to a dustbin, and we decided to just sit there and lay down. So I made some certain phone calls, and then they were very nice. The army officer that I knew, they provided us with colorful, beautiful, thin blanket, you know, which we just wrap around ourselves and sat the whole night. We got up early in the morning, and then we decided that we have already booked a ticket to come to Delhi by then for 17 of us, because three of them were decided to stay back and go to Guwahati, you know. So as we booked the ticket we also the airlines people have hiked the same ticket prices. Normally it should be 7,000 to 10,000. It came up to 20,000 per person, adult person. So they really hiked up the airfare, which was not fair, because I feel that in time of trouble, as we were, you know, fleeing our war-torn city, the airline should have been compassionate towards us, but they were not. So we came to Delhi in with just the clothes that we have been wearing for the past 4 days. Ragtag, we were looking like a motley crew of, as if we have just come from the slum or something. I'm not putting down the slum people. The slum people dress up very well, but we were like, Yeah, war tone.
fresh.
Yeah, we were looking so, and then most of them we tried to starve because we didn't want to go to the toilet also. So we were starving, and then we were sick. By then, my Down syndrome sister was already very sick. She had diarrhea because of the food and the water, whatever, and because of the fright. Her stomach, and so we have to change her clothes, soy clothes, and we have to beg some lady in a camp to give her an additional pant to wear because we didn't bring a second set of clothing.
So now you had to buy, like you were starting a new life almost.
Yeah, we are actually uprooted totally. Our houses are burned. And then we came running with just the clothes in the hand. And I managed to bring my bag and then with my ATM. But the most surprising thing is that what happened is that when I came here, my school friend, I studied in Jaipur. My father, as I said, was a person who encouraged us to get education. He educated all his children and sent us all outside. So my friend came to know that I was, because they must have read in the news and all. So my batchmate first rally around and they collected money, and then they gave us some good sum of money to buy things in the beginning. So we were managed to buy all the kitchenwares and stuff and all, and then our ticket came out to almost 3 lakhs. That also was given by my sisters. I have two sisters who are outside and who managed to send the money because he said, "Get out of that place, otherwise you all will die." So they were saying. So I'm just grateful to my MGDian friends. Maharani Gayatri Devi Public School in Jaipur. They rallied around me. The clothes that I'm wearing today is also given by one of them, and until now I have not bought a single clothes because they have, parcel after parcels will come to my house, from my friends, from my school friends, my seniors, my junior, everybody rally around me. And then I was thinking, at one place one community chased away, and treated us like as human. They think that we're not even human beings. But here, my friends, my Indian friends, we also Indian now. We are Indian, but we always said we were not Easterner. But now my Indianness, my patriotism towards my country has increased. We are thankful to the Indian Army, and we also thankful to my school friends and college friends who rally around us, and even to my community people who have already lived here. The Kuki community, they came with bags of rice, they came with sugar, they came with tea in the beginning. So now we have shifted into this house. We came on a sixth, stayed in my sister's flat for some time, all, sleeping on a sitting room, 3 bedrooms. On the 11th, we got this house, fortunately. And then we shifted here on the 11th of May. And here, 11 members are staying, including the small little kids, 1 year old and 4 year old, and then another one is 12 years old, and my mother, my sister. Yeah, I was in a very high political post I was a member and an acting chairperson of Manipur State Commission for Scheduled Tribe, for the past 3 years. For the past 3 years.
You had a government job.
Yeah, it was a political appointment, so it was not a permanent job. It's just like, political.
Consultant.
Yeah, but it was a very, like, it was a very prestigious job, where the pay and all are nothing, but then it was the prestige was there along with that. So we were like respected. I was invited as chief guest. I was invited as a guest of honor everywhere for the past 3 years. I've just completed my term in February to 2023. Before that, I was in international funding agency, including WHO. For the past 30 odd years, I was with the international funding agencies, the NGO who support the NGO. So I was working with different NGOs. I was in Bangalore, I was in Delhi earlier, so I know Delhi. I'm very familiar with Delhi. But then coming this time to Delhi was a very different feeling because we came here as a displaced person. And then I remember my sister who used to work with this. She was from Delhi social work, and we used to go and work with this Afghan in the 80s with this Afghan family who were actually running away from the country and who came as a refugee to our country and to go to some other, USA or UK or so. So we used to go and do the interview with them. We used to go and eat with them. They used to have those big, big naans and everything. So we used to go and partake of the lunch with them as we were interviewing them. My sister was doing a project with them. So I was reminded of that. I said, oh, yeah, we also in a similar situation now. Uh, but we do not call ourselves refugee.
You are in your
We are
country.
not, because we are internally displaced people, because our country is Indian, we are Indians, right? So how can we be refugee? We are not coming. Manipur itself is not a different country, it's part of India. So we are just displaced people who have been uprooted, unfortunately, due to the hatred of the other community. They wanted to throw us out, and they have managed to throw us out. So now people like us, we are fortunate enough to come to Delhi, coming here, and we are trying we are semi-settled here, but we
So
don't
what's your
know.
plan now?
Our plan is we don't know anything, because we have come. It's not even a month. It's going to be about a month. So we're just wondering what is the future.
So
We
you will go back,
uh,
but the houses must be ruined now.
No, we cannot go back, because they don't want us to come back. They have chased us away from our house, and then the house are all destroyed. The house that we have now are not habitable anymore. In order to stay there, and I don't think we are also even going to get back our houses. It will be snatched away from our house. The property was worth crores. It's not an ordinary house. It's a pakka houses that we live in,
Hmm.
and it was a very like posh colony for Manipur. It was a well-known colony. We have ministers, we have IPS officers, we have IS officers, we have businesswomen, people who were in all my community were all well-to-do. They were doing very well in their life. They were doing very well in their profession. They were chief engineers. So there was a very lucrative plot of land also. Everybody would like to stay there, but how can we go back? Where is the house? The house is gone. We are homeless now. We are not only homeless, we are stateless, but we are still Indian, and then Indian has accepted us here in Delhi, and we're grateful for that. So, but what is the future hold?
That's
And
what I want to understand. What do you think for the children who are here with you?
now we have to think of the education, we have to think of earning a livelihood, we have to sustain this family of 14, 11 of us staying in one place. We have to eat every day, and then we are used to eating 2 3 varieties of sabji and food and everything. So how are we going to sustain ourselves now? We have to think about it. We have to start looking for jobs. And then most of them are like my mother, 86. Well, how will she get a job? She's getting her pension. Hopefully, she'll continue to get. Then my Down syndrome sister is not capable of working. I'm also, I'm a middle-aged woman now, so it'll be difficult for me to get a job, but I can still work and try. So I'm going to try for that. So then my nephew is trying for a job today. Also, he went to an interview in Moria. Then my sister-in-law, she's got a job back home as a clerk. My brother is also got a job. But then my nephew also got. So they will have to probably go back, not to Infal, but to another district. So we are very unsure about what a future holds for us. But then our faith in humanity is not gone, and our belief in ourselves is not over as
who
yet.
do you think is responsible for all that?
Initially, when we when they attacked us and when they threw us out of and then they chased us out of the house, we have no clue. We said, "What is happening? Why are we being attacked?" And all. We were so surprised. We only need to know that the Meitei people are attacking the tribals. But now later, when we came away to Delhi, we have access to internet. We came to know that there are two groups of radicalized radical groups of Meitei people called Arambam, Thingol, and then Meitei Lupu, who wanted to actually bring back the past glory. Once it was a kingdom, they have a king, and then they have this Sanamahi religion. They have been equipped with machine guns. They have been provided with financial help,
But
and
the government is saying that
the
we
government.
we are urging all the tribal people to give up their weapons. CM comes up with a photo that they have M16, they have AK-47. So now they are saying that they are going to be very strict if they find weapons at the houses of any of the person. I mean, they are including
What
weapons.
houses? They should look at their own Meitei houses. We have already gone. Our houses are being burned down. So where will the weapon be? Where do we ran for our life. So they're going to the hills and check. Let them do that. That we don't know about that. But later we found out it was this group, Arambam Tengol and then Lebeti Lupung, who wanted to make this the valley only for the Meitei. They are the one responsible, and then they have the backing of the chief ministers, and then also the MP, Rajya Sabha MP, who's who's a actually titular head. He's a monarch, the king of that place right now, and he's also an MP of Rajya Sabha. And then some one or two ministers. That's what we came to know later. Then it makes sense. I said, yeah, why should we just be suddenly thrown out of the house? So they have an agenda. They've been planning for the past 10 years to chase us out of out of our home and make Manipur the infal only for them. Only for yeah, because
Like,
it is small. It's a small 700 square mile of land, while the hills are bigger, but it is less dense. It is densely populated in the valley, but in the hills the populations are much less because there's more development in the valley than in the hills. So I don't know for what, why they hate us, and then why they've been terming us as foreigners. We have been living there for the past 60 years in Infal. Then my father, who he was, if he was alive today, he would be in his 90s, have been living in Manipur, for almost 100 years. And then his grandfather, my great grandfather, they were all from Manipur, in a place called Chuchanpur.
so they are saying that okay, let's do NRC, but they say that okay, cookies don't want to have NRC, Mackies they want to have NRC.
No, why not? They were demanding for the NRC, you know. So we didn't object to that. Why should we object to that? Because we are also part of this thing, part and parcel of the state. We are equally we have equal rights in the state as a citizen of the country. So we are not coming from Burma in 2022. We have not settled. There are some refugees, I admit, who has come over because there is problems, as you know, the civil unrest in Burma, Myanmar, which has been happening for the past 5 years or so. When Aung San Suu was, yeah, and democracy uh, was was the jeopardy. The military junta has always been ruling there. So we have, as I said, we have relative across Burma, Myanmar. We have Kuki people in Myanmar. We have Meitei people in Myanmar. We have Meitei people in Bangladesh. We have Kuki people in Bangladesh. We have Mizo people in Bangladesh and in Myanmar. We have all of us. We have some relative or the other, including the Meiteis. But then, since the British, when they did the demarcation geographically, they were in Burma, and we happened to be here in India. India was also annexed, by the Indian government. So what happened was that, so we do have now the refugee came to Mizoram, and the Mizoram are taking care of them. But in Manipur, just about 1,000 refugee has come in the recent, which the Manipur government has actually kept them in the shelter. They have built a house for them in some village there, and then they will be deported back once the war is over in Burma. So, but that is just about 1,000 people. What about 60,000 to 80,000, or to be more than 2 lakhs Kuki population who are there? How can we all be refugees? And then what is the meaning of illegal refugees? I've never heard of this term. They say illegal refugees, because refugees are refugees. Once you flee from your country, then you become refugees, and it is up to the receiving country whether to take care of them or not. Mizoram is taking care of those refugees from Bangladesh and from Myanmar. But Manipur is not willing to take care of even for the 1,000 people that have come as a refugee. So we are not refugees at all, and they should stop calling us foreigners and refugees. And then if you want peace to come back to Manipur, now not only are the Kuki community suffering, even the Meitei community have been displaced. They are also equally suffering now. Initially on the third, it was us whom they chased us out. We, who was living in Infal city. Now in the periphery, I believe the shooting is going on every day, and things are happening non-stop. People are out to kill each other. I don't know. it's become a battlefield. So both party will suffer, both community will suffer. If a Kuki die, a Meitei guy also will die, isn't it? Because they're shooting at each other. So unless the government, and it is in the hands of the of the chief minister to say stop. If he just press a button and say stop, stop all this killing, let's get back to normalcy, then it will be done.
You think after Amit Shah's visit, anything will change?
We are hopeful that something productive and positive will come out. He's given us 15 days time to contain
Yes.
the fights between us, and then but still, in spite of that, the fight is still going on the hill areas. So we have to respect what he has actually told us, and we have to wait and watch and see what he is planning, because we have been all a hope in Amit Shah ji and in the Indian government to bring about an amicable solution to our problems, because it is us, the common people, who are suffering on both sides. The Meitei people are also suffering, the tribal Kuki people are also suffering. So both sides are suffering. Now that Naga have been spared in this war, the civil war or
They
unrest.
separated themselves from the.
Yeah, and then they are also tribal, but they are not helping us. They're not even supporting the Kuki tribals. They have totally kept themselves away, and they're not saying anything about that. So I hope they're living peacefully with the Meitei there. But ultimately, all of us are we are one. We are one. We are same piece in a pot. We have been living together. How can you divide that? So even if they have chases away, they still have this Naga tribal living with them, the Kabui tribe living with them. So what is going to happen is that we need there should be peace. Let there be peace in Manipur. Let normalcy return. The daily wage earner, the woman, as a woman, what I feel is that I feel so helpless. Our mother, who's running those imam markets, most of them are actually daily wage, this thing, income earner.
Yeah.
So if they don't work or they don't sell vegetable today, they'll not have food to eat in the house. They'll not have money to buy rice in the house. They don't have, they don't store rice, bags after bags of rice in the house. They used to buy rice for maybe 5 kgs, 2 kgs, and with that they subsidize on that. So subsistency, and then there is no guarantee that they're going to eat also their meals. Now I'm sure that many people must be starving in Manipur. We are not there to see with the eyes, but I can feel that many women, many children, many old people are suffering. And as the Meitei Rusher of Sugnu, they are even left behind, the old grandfather. He was left. He was not taken with them when they ran for their life. But when the Kuki went there and met him, they assured him not to be. They said, "Don't be afraid, grandfather. We'll do nothing to you." And they took him and they gave him food also. His own family abandoned him. So there are a lot of stories like this, very sad stories. And then the blame game should stop now. We can't blame Arambai Tengol is doing this, the Kuki militant is doing this, the commandos are shooting us. All that can stop now if only the chief minister says stop. It is in the hands of the chief minister. And then I request our honorable chief minister to come to his senses and stop this senseless carnage that is happening. Manipur is burning. It should stop. It should stop. It is a beautiful state. We have beautiful people, beautiful culture, beautiful customs that we have. And now with this happening, it will take many years for us to regain trust in each other, to believe in each other. But I'm sure someday it will happen. In the meantime, what the number one is that the fighting and the blame games to stop now. Both are involved now. Both are in suffering, and then both are in warring side. It's like tit for tat. If you kill my people, I will kill your people. And we're praying for that. We're praying for. I have forgiven my attackers, though I even know some of them. And but that day there were so many of them. It was difficult for me to estimate the numbers, but it must be around 500 people at one go.
Must be scary.
So I'm really, really hopeful. I'm hopeful that things will improve. I'm hopeful that Amisha ji visit has put a balm, healing balm, and then things will become positive and things will change for the better.